Swiss watch designer and producer Rolex SA is headquartered in Geneva. Hans Wilsdorf and Alfred Davis established Wilsdorf and Davis in London in 1905. In 1908, the firm registered Rolex as the trademark for their watches, and in 1915 it changed its name to the Rolex Watch Co. Ltd. There are many hidden truths behind their growth. Today we are going to discuss how Rolex fooled the industry. Rolex's most recognizable model might be the simplest and least expensive one. I'm referring to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, an entry-level time-only watch that costs roughly £5,000. Why is this simple watch so recognizable? For the simple reason that it incorporates the two technologies that allowed Rolex to exist as it does today. Rolex had to be creative when it initially began since it lacked the resources and knowledge necessary to compete with the major players of the time. Oyster Perpetual watches are waterproof in two ways. First, with a screw-down case and crown that they named the Oyster. And second, with an automatically wound movement that is powered by the perpetual rotor. Since Switzerland is widely recognized as the world's best watchmaking country, it only makes sense that the most well-known watchmaker, Rolex, is also Swiss. After all, it clearly states Swiss-made on the dial, and if you check the archives, you'll discover that the Rolex brand was registered in Switzerland in 1920. It was established 15 years earlier in 1905. So what's happening? In fact, German founder Hans Wilsdorf emigrated to England in 1903 to start his new watch company in the hopes of outcompeting the shoddy English rivals and generating a fortune. One of the key components of a Rolex watch is its mechanical movement, which consists of a number of gears and springs that maintain nearly perfect timing without the need of any power at all. Anything less than that would not do because it's the watch's beating hearts and soul. Although Rolex has done many things that have drawn criticism, it may have produced the most divisive timepiece ever in 2004. I'm referring to the Sacco, a variation on the Daytona that elevated eye-catching to a whole new level. It was adorned with 36 baguette-cut cognac sapphires. Despite having extremely dubious appearances, Sacco originally cost $80,000 but is now closer to $350,000. How on earth did Rolex manage to achieve such remarkable success when, in comparison to rivals like Omega, it had been associated with the sport for more than 50 years? The key was to think strategically rather than extravagantly. Rolex submitted the first wristwatch for chronometer accuracy certification in 1914, using a tiny mechanism from a lady's pendant watch. Then, a few years later, after the wristwatch's utility was first appreciated in the trenches of World War I, Rolex investigated other industry applications as well. For instance, scuba divers, pilots, researchers, and explorers. It's not what you have, it's what you do with it, as the proverb says. This leads you to believe that they are all expensive and that you don't want to pay more than $1,000. It's possible that you feel helpless. You'd be wrong though, as Tudor was the name of Hans Wilsdorf's inexpensive version of the rapidly expanding Rolex brand. Customers, notably the French-American and Canadian warships, loved the timepieces. So here's something you most certainly didn't know. Dwayne Johnson, often known as The Rock, who is best known as an action movie hero but was originally a world wrestling great, invested his first significant sum of money in a Rolex. It was probably a date-only Rolex with a diamond dial, which Johnson described as the kind of timepiece you buy when you're successful. Anyhow, he was wearing it in the ring when another wrestler tripped over him and shattered the bracelet. It slipped off, but if you know anything about wrestling, you know that it's undoubtedly real and that you must at all times remain in character. Although he has since purchased several more Rolex watches, he claimed that selling the watch was an indication that the brand wasn't suited for him at the time. How about a co-branded piece between Rolex and famous pizza chain Domino's, manufactured from the late 1970s onwards? The idea for the watch first occurred to owner Tom Manahan when a franchisee approached him and inquired about how he might obtain a Rolex watch similar to Tom's. Tom set an arbitrary and, in his opinion, impossible goal of $20,000 of sales in 1 week, and lo and behold, the objective was achieved. Tom gave the Rolex as a present, and Rolex collaborated along to design a watch just for Domino. The originals were Air Kings with the Domino's logo printed on the dial. Would you believe that some of the most costly Rolex timepieces are total duds? Collectors enjoy investing in unique and uncommon timepieces, and some of the most unique and rare are ones that have actually failed. Spider dial on a black Submariner, deep cream on an old Explorer 2 dial, or chocolatey brown on a once black Tropical Daytona dial are some of the examples of dials. At auction, these rarities can bring in hundreds of thousands or even millions. The absurd part is that they are all essentially manufacturing flaws. These unique looks have developed over time as a result of batches of timepieces that were incorrectly assembled. Numerous things are attributed to Rolex, yet frequently they are just untrue. Not only because of myth and legend, but also because they were done so on purpose. Hans Wilsdorf, the guy of Rolex, was a clever marketer who knew what he had to do to succeed. For instance, consider the word Submariner. 10 years prior, the English company Brooke & Son used the name submarine in a waterproof watch, but neglected to trademark it. Next, there is the perpetual self-winding movement, which Rolex claimed to have created but was really first used in a watch. 5 years before the Rolex, a Harwood was released, and Wilsdorf was forced to apologize in front of the public. The first self-winding wristwatch was created by Mr. John Harwood, and he apologized for any hurt sentiments. Major Rolex ad accused of racketeering and selling directly to gray market. One of Chicago's oldest jewelers, a Rolex authorized dealer, is accused by a former Rolex ad employee of firing her in retaliation for whistleblowing and refusing to engage in flagrant illegal activity and engaging in racketeering. In essence, the plaintiff is charging this significant authorized dealer of selling watches directly into the gray market, including allegedly Rolex and Patek Philippe. These accusations in this case are about as juicy as they come, and they shine a bright light squarely on the dishonorable practice of authorized dealers selling well-liked watch models directly into the gray market. Naturally, this practice artificially raises the absurd rates that consumers must pay on the black market to avoid decades-long waiting lists. A group of solicitors filed the 50-page, extremely thorough complaint with the District Court for the Northern District of Illinois Eastern Division. The submitted complaint is very thorough, and all accusations are supported by numerous details and examples. Rolex and Patek Philippe have not yet taken sides in the argument. If the alleged conspiracy is shown to be accurate in court, that will almost certainly occur. Which little-known Rolex fact do you know? Let us know in the comments section. That's all about today's video. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, press the bell icon to get notified of our upcoming videos.